All right, we're recording. Whoop, whoop. Let me get started here. Let me get
Whoop,
my note.
whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
Are you giving yourself your own hype music? You
Yeah.
going
Whoop, whoop.
Flavor Flav now? Now you need a big fucking clock, but in your case, it'd be a little digital one or something.
All right, let's get started. What do I always say? What's that Matt McConaughey line? All right, all right,
I don't know.
all right.
Matt
Let's get.
McConaughey. You guys are on a first name basis like that. Now it's not Matthew McConaughey. It's Matt.
I
It's
cited.
Matt to me.
I cited my source.
You did.
Melanie.
I'm Matt.
All right, let's get started. We got some good ones on the block, on the docket, if you will. Scrolling down to my notes. We're going to start off with DR Horton in Charleston, South Carolina, with our articles. Moving on to CVS and their big theft problem, retail in general, to be honest with you. Then, get a load of this. Somebody had a water bill in Abilene, Texas, for $911,000. And needless to say, the city wasn't real helpful. They're going to get around to it, though, to help this individual out. Moving on, and we're going to close with AI. AI is going to be probably more into our discussions in the future because they affect customer experiences. I'll hold my rage and opinion to when we start talking. Alrighty, roll the intro there, Melanie.
All right. Let's do this. Welcome to the WTH show. What's that mean? What the hell? We share customer experiences gone wrong and the few that got it right. We are a place to vent, get advice, and help if we feel we can make a positive impact. Know that you are not alone. If you or someone you know had a problem with a business and want to be on the show, please go to WTHshow.com. Then click on Start Here.
All right. As I said, let's get started. Before we're going to jump right into DR Horton, I'll give you the highlights of what we've seen. It is Charleston, South Carolina, Berkeley County to be specific. And I'm looking for the news station. This actually made it to the news station. Let me back up. Who is DR Horton? Track Home Builder. I know them from buying and selling a lot of stocks, as well as I spent a year during college selling homes for a tract home builder. The gist of this is slapping tract homes together. The other part is beautiful neighborhood, but these things are just not built well at all. And I'm going to leave the government side of the stuff to Danny over here. And I want to sort of shave my experience and opinion in here. DR Horton is an extremely large nationwide builder. I've driven through their neighborhoods, and to me, they're fairly shoddy, if you will. There's an individual that's in this article and interviewed with the local news station. It's live at 5. I'm trying to get it's W something. I'll find it in a second. But Dave Preston and his wife spent a couple $100,000 on this house. Within days after closing, they had all kinds of problems where leaky pipe. They brought in an inspector almost a year later after fighting with DR Horton multiple times. Come to find out, the inspector found missing pipes, lack of insulation, etc. This really boils down to something, in my opinion. These large companies and their leadership style is slam it together, get it closed. And I can do from the tract home builder I worked with from 2004 to 2005, that is the mentality. They slap it together. They just want to get it closed, and they make all these promises, a day or two before closing to get it closed. And you are at their whim to get all these issues fixed after the closing. Frankly, I've seen some horrific things go on. And what I mean by horrific, or here's an example. Just picture a 1-level townhome so it's on a slab. Pipe breaks the day before the closing. Water starts coming up through the concrete 2 hours before the closing. You usually have a final walkthrough by the customer. Well, water was spewing through the concrete, and They rushed folks in through the, for like 10 people, rush them in, clean up the water to get the customers through so they don't see this problem. And these folks that I'm speaking of, I was witness to the next 6 months dealing with water leaks, roof issues, things of that nature. DR Horton sounds like they've done about the same thing with this Dave Preston. Uh, and they continue to have problems. After this news article came out, many people started coming forward once again to complain about DR Horton. And my final thought or point is this. Here's classic leadership, poor culture of a company. The news reporter reaches out to DR Horton Corporate. They come back with a generic. Hold on, the teeth. Look, the stallion's already coming out of the stable. He's ready to go, baby. Let me quote them so I'm accurate. Here's what they sent back as their response to the local reporter. DR Horton is committed to providing quality customer service in the greater Charleston area and across the country. We are not aware of any outstanding warranty issues. Here we go. The addresses you referenced. And we encourage any homeowner with a concern to contact our local division directly, charlestonwarranty@drhorton.com. Once again, no specific person to talk to, nothing. It's this corporate mentality, mindset, culture that, hey, we're not going to give anybody specific to ring this out and get it taken care of. What we're going to do is keep launching it, pushing it back down to the local folks, and no real help. Nothing to resolve this at all. Thank you, big company America.
And let's be honest. I even the wording that they were even talking about the specific residences where they're giving no specifics whatsoever. So they even left the complainants in such a general form that they had all the wiggle room in the world because they may be right. Highest level, they may not know any specific address. Of course they would. But that doesn't give them the right to say they know of no issues whatsoever. When it comes to tract homes, and they're not a big deal up my way, it's not as common. But whenever I see them, I always assume that they're almost looking at putting lipstick on a pig. They make the most beautiful exteriors, but when you go through the inside, things are thrown together so damn quickly, not much better than basically a modular home. Said they may look gorgeous on the outside, but simply not. You're not going to have them spending 6 months building your house. You're going to be lucky if they give you a month and a half. It's going to be thrown together as quickly as possible. Just go right down the line to flip them as quick as they can. It's all about getting in, building them, moving on, and picking your cat. That's all it is. They don't care about the quality. They just care about the sale.
So to that point, the exterior lipstick on a pig is a great metaphor for this. The other part is you might be familiar with community wells or septic. It sounds like this had community septic. And this is your classic company. Yeah, here we go. This is beautiful leadership. And so they had problems with their septic. And it sounds like a community septic. And it started overflowing into the neighborhood. And well, usually a septic tank is one septic per home, etc. This has a shared septic, and a lot of times you might have 3 or 4 setups throughout a larger community. They're not that common, but they are, depending. Well, this one started to overflow. What was a response by the company? And one of them, I want to get to you the exact words, but I'll paraphrase it real quick. Homeowners should not be all showering together. All right, so that just went from WTH to what the fuck? Seriously. Was there something in the contract when they closed on this house that they said, you need to coordinate your water usage with all the people down the party line called those party lines back in the day with the telephones? I think in like 1940, some shit like that.
No, it was 1990s, and you used many of them yourself. I'm sure that
I
you
never
met many
had
a
no-
woman that way.
No.
But what they're basically saying is people ought to time their shits too. We all shouldn't be flushing at the same time. You get 8:15 in the evening. That's your time to go in there, have your good number two, and move on. This is just absolute insanity. They can try to blame customers or something like that. They're not going to time showers together. They're not going to time bath. You're a homeowner. It's your freaking home. You should do what you want. Plain and simple.
All right, so here's some other points on this, getting to the legal parts of it. And Dan and I always shy away from that until we get a lawyer or attorney on the phone. Multiple lawsuits against DR Horton have been filed in counties throughout the state, and many are in Berkeley County. Lawsuits filed by homeowners against the company allege improperly installed roofs, persistent drainage problems, resulting in consequential damages to houses. A septic tank class action lawsuit filed by homeowners in the French Quarter neighborhood in Huger, apologize if I butchered that, in this neighborhood, including Preston against DR Horton, states drainage in the entire neighborhood is failing or has failed.
To me, that's all a matter of public record now. It just shows that they don't put it together. They've made their money, and they're
My parting thought here is, guys, and I'll say this about the RV industry. In a lot of ways, I think we don't have it near as bad in the automotive industry, but clearly RV and these tract homes, guys, get an inspector. I don't care if it's
Thank you.
new. Get an inspector before you close, before you sign a mortgage or a loan on one of these RVs, because, dude, it's horrendous. And I can tell you from my experience of working in one of these, I don't want to give you the name because then I'm going to be fighting another lawsuit. But you need somebody that's a non-biased third party in there before you close on any of this. And God, that list is long. Don't be persuaded to go to closing, even if it's painful and you just closed on a house. You got to get in the next house and you got kids and all this other stuff. They are playing you like a violin. I know that from my own experience. They want you pressured to go to closing. Just don't be dumb. Put on your smart. Don't get pressured into something that you know is going to be a damn colossal problem for the next year or two. It's going to probably cost you some bunch of attorney fees to fight this, because to the point of this article, there's many lawsuits. Do you want to be fighting that? If you just slow down a little bit, you get somebody in there, a non-biased third party, and then don't go to closing for a few days. Let them fix that crap before you get in there. All right. I went off a tangent there, but that's my shtick. Anything else, Danny?
No, I'm glad you brought that up. As I'm reading the article, it struck me that they said that they actually had the city inspector, but the city inspector is also inspecting the same number of houses that company's throwing there. Probably not going to take the time to inspect at the level you as a customer would want them to. Get your own third-party inspector to come in and really do a thorough walk through the house. Sure, it's going to set you back a few bills. You'd be far better off doing so. At least you'll know the truth. And that's not throwing the city or state inspectors under the bus. It's just saying that they have a Herculean task. They got to check. There's 50 houses in this development. They're all being put at the same time. They've got to inspect all of them. Don't assume they're going to go through with a fine tooth. Get your own. Pay them the money. They will have to do it. You have hired. There's accountability there that they're going to be required.
Alrighty. The last thing in this, the name of the article, excuse me, the news station that reported on this is Live 5, WCSC, Whiskey Charlie, Sam Charlie. The name of the article is Lawsuits, Customer Complaints Around DR Horton Builds in the Low Country. And we'll continuously say this. Guys, use the power of social media. And the folks that are involved in this, I'm sure it's out on Facebook right now. Use that power that you have in your hands to gang up with these folks like Dave Preston. There's another individual. The last name is Molway, Molway. Reach out to him on Facebook and see what else you can do, as well as, I'm going to say this more often, go to the Attorney General within your state. I can't think of the AG for South Carolina off the top of my head, but make sure you get a complaint filed early on, not just go find an attorney, get the AG involved, and it works for you. Whew, enough comments. Let's move on. You like how I had to get my last words in before you?
You're good,
Right.
dude. I knew you would. When it comes to home ownership and stuff like that's a passion point for you.
Oh, hell yeah. All right. Moving on. The U.S. Sun. This is on their website. The U.S. Sun has an article out. This is all about CVS. The title is CVS Shopper Mortified by Having to Push the Bad, I quote, Bad Tummy Loser button as anti-theft measure lockdown store after store. I had to read that 4 times to go, what the hell is a tummy loser button?
It
Let me
means
sum
that
up.
he was basically about to shit himself and needed some kind of antidiarrheal med. Could not get at it. Is what that meant.
Oh, hell, I didn't get, okay. I read the article and I didn't even get that out of it.
Yeah,
But
no,
anyways,
no. So basically, what you have here is CVS is one of those many companies that's now starting to lock down everything on the shelves. Anything that's small enough to sneak out of there, they're going to lock it down. Unfortunately, that also means you've got a customer having to push a call button, get somebody to come down to help. Case of this man, unfortunately, the article doesn't say where this was. It's just the general U.S. Sun, to my knowledge, just a random internet website. But unfortunately for this man, it sounds like he was having some issues, found himself having to use a call button. And as you read down through, it talks about the fact that people just have gotten so as soon as they get there, they have to keep pushing the button to come and get somebody to help. People have reached out to CVS complaining about it, and CVS saying, obviously, it's the last thing they want. Of course, it's the last thing they want to do, because the fact of the matter is now they've got to take somebody from someplace else on the floor and come over and wait on this customer. And they know it's pissing customers off. It's making them take far longer to get in and out of the store. Typically, CVS isn't a store you're going to want to go and spend an hour. You've got your 1 or 2 items going in there for it. If you have to wait to have each one of those unlocked, it's simply go off. So here we have irate customers reaching out to CVS. CVS simply has no real good response, but I honestly don't know what their response would be anyway. They're in a spot where theft has gotten so rampant, they don't know what to do. So I blame the company for putting customers in a unfortunate spot. And I personally, if I knew CVS was doing that locally, I would not go into that CVS anymore. Not for those kind of items. I'd find someplace else to go to it, for it. But also, people need to understand that for those that are into theft, they're bringing it on the rest of the population. Companies would not do this if it wasn't rampant. Thoughts, Teddy?
I'm with you. I'm aligned on both of those, and I'm scanning through this article, man. Even sweets like Skittles are behind glass now.
There, because people they can grab and run. No, I think that's totally out of hand. I understand the higher ticket item. Who's gonna wait around for you to unlock a bag of Skittles, or if you need your $100,000 bar fix, you're not gonna wait for them to go unlock the damn thing. It's simply not worth your while. Even at Walmart, trying to buy a headlight, and now those are under lock and key, and I simply wouldn't do it. I just came home and ordered on Amazon. I'm not gonna wait for somebody to come over and do something like that. To me, it's annoying. It's taking time out of my day that I simply don't have.
My final thought on this is, guys, this is just a crappy situation and it speaks to a lack of law enforcement. I understand where law enforcement's coming from, and I understand where these companies are coming from, that they just, people are coming in and raiding these shelves and running out, and there's really nothing law enforcement can do. That's bad other than close the store. Obviously, the store's still profitable if they're still operating. But yeah, I can't, a lot of times I'm on the show complaining about companies and leadership and stuff like that, but not on this one. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, from the hook, or the beginning, the agenda, whatever you like to call it. Abilene, Texas. Woman receives a water bill for 99,029 gallons from March 7th to April 11th for $911,106. All right, screw $911,000. Debbie Vicare posted this on Facebook. I'm going to summarize it from this point forward. She got an overdraft, and this is the other bad part. She obviously had about $74,000 in her account because the Abilene Waterworks billed for $911,000. I just realized this. And she got an overdraft for $836,000. So let's call it 70,000 plus. Got taken out of her account and given to the city for water. Is that math roughly right there? Yes.
It is. I will admit, when I read the article, I didn't do the math. Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. And so she calls up the city and she got the runaround about all this for days. And she still has not gotten a call back. All she got back was an email that said, we realize that you do have a problem, and we are addressing it from our new billing system, and your service will not be, or nobody's service will be shut down for this. Really? No, what are you going to do about this? What are you going to do with my $70,000 and the potential of this messing with my credit?
And the fact of the matter is, any other expenses she's got coming out of her account that for a while she wasn't able to access because it was so overdrawn. This is absolute sheer negligence on the company. The utility right there should immediately rectify the problem. They should give her back any kind of overdraft fees, any fees that come out of it. And I would argue that they should also throw in a little extra because this is taking her time, guaranteed impact her in other ways. It isn't just a simple overdraft. This is going to probably cause some other things to bounce realistically. Even something so simple as if she would go to groceries and the money in her account. And
Damn, I
for
didn't even
somebody
think
who
about
has,
that, dude.
unless just so happens she caught it immediately, chances are there were other impacts that even the embarrassment of having a card declined. I didn't believe everybody's had that time where you ample money on a card, and you go to use it and it's declined for some reason. It's embarrassing no matter what you do. All of that snowballs, and that utility needs to rectify it in some way.
Well, there's a good point that she said here. She said, I learned my lesson to not keep all my eggs in one basket, and will open another bank account that is separate from one assigned for auto pay Shit, I never even thought about that. I might do that tomorrow.
If you've got that much, especially if you've got that much money in your account, you should be able to transfer over to deal with your bills. You should have all your money right there.
All right, I think that's a good closing thought. 2 closing thoughts. Abilene, better get on this because you guys, this is what I would call, to Dan's point, negligent. You could have, Dan and I have turned over many big systems, and you can always put a buffer in for something like this where you know that your billing's correct by bills 5 to 10 days after the implementation of the cutover to the new system, so everything can be rectified. That's a fundamental thing in IT and on the operation side that Dan and I deal with all the time. So shame on you, Abilene, that you didn't do something like that. And shame on the consultants I'm sure you had involved here that didn't advise of that, because that's a fundamental IT and project management methodology and risk avoidance technique we learned to do 25 years ago. Apparently, your consulting company didn't know that. Must have been using Joey Jr. and company helping you out there. All right, moving on.
Third one, though. How does the bank allow that kind of withdrawal, too, without verifying it?
Oh, hell,
I find the bank very negligent in this one. I don't understand how they would ever allow that kind of monetary transfer without doing some kind of validation.
Good point there, big guy. Good point.
Thought it was required.
I'm going to look up this woman, Debbie Vicray, Vicary, and see if she wants to be on the show, because she's got to have. This didn't get resolved yet. And when this article came out, it was fairly recent, May 10th.
Yeah,
It'll be interesting, all the other shit she's got to go through because of these people's negligence.
Still going to be very fresh. May 10th, I would have put it on Friday, so it means realistically it was over the last week or week and a half that this all happened.
All right, moving on. Well, Dan, you summarize it. You go first.
So this is actually a more of a video article that was done by CNBC. And it's basically talking about the fact that the travel industry is starting to move using AI to respond to customer complaints or any kind of customer emails. Not surprising. Chat GPT, everybody knows about it. Everybody's used it. It's going to become more and more a part of life. Hell, kids are using it to cheat their way through school right now because they can write your art, write your essays for you. One of the interesting spins with this article, though, is understand if you're using a travel agent, which is something that's kind of become a lost art. Most people do their own travel themselves on the internet. If you're using a travel agency, chances are you're expecting a certain level of service. You're going through that. And the idea that you have an issue, you complain, you may not even have a human replying to you, that will probably piss a lot of people off, thinking that all that, if you spent paid for some kind of agent fees, you're not getting personal service. What does that mean? What's the point of using that travel?
So to that point, I'll add a layer on to so many things with customer service, customer experience that AI is bringing is it's just another layer between customers and the company. And there's going to be a day of reckoning when people are just not going to do business with people that are just doing things like this. It might be more efficient. It might do certain things, and companies are going to come back with, oh, we've only had a problem. And they always come up with the same thing. It's less than 1% or less than 2%. That's the canned response. It's complete BS. Never is. I can tell you from the customer service managers I've dealt with on projects, that is clearly not it. So AI is creating just another thicker layer between customers and the company is really all this is. And by the way, this is CNBC. The article name is Why More Companies Are Using AI to Respond to Negative Online Reviews. Now here's my plug for WTH show, our show. This is exactly why, this is one of the biggest reasons we started the WTH show, because we have seen so many of these positive reviews that are clearly bot or AI driven, where if they're very systematic, they're very carbon copy, and you can see the same review from website or product to product for one company, or from company to company where they're using one AI company to deliver or push against a negative review. So there's two. They go out, they hire a company to just constantly and consistently, that's really the same thing, right? Constantly, consistently deliver the same positive reviews so they don't have to depend on people to put real reviews in. Case in point, that's why you have the WTH show doing interviews. And then the second one is they systematically attack anything with a negative review with a 3-star or below review. And that way the human can't keep up with it. And that's the way they try to push against that risk. So there's my plug. Work with us to get on the WTH show at WTHshow.com. We'll bring you on if you got a good story and we think we can have a positive impact. Kind of in our intro, anyhow. All right. I think that is all the articles we got on. Let's move on to thoughts till we meet again. WTHshow.com. To be on the show, click start here. If you missed that, I got some questions for you because the button's about that freaking big. It's red. Right on the page. We do want to interview people, folks like this Abilene woman, Vicari, as well as Dave Weston from DR Horton. Excuse me, back up. That was completely wrong. He bought a DR Horton home in Charleston, South Carolina. I'll be reaching out to him to see if he would like to be on the show. Next one is like, subscribe to us on YouTube, and please provide some comments so we can steer this podcast and YouTube channel to the content that you're looking for or you'd like to see. We're open up to just about anything. The links to these articles will be down in the show notes. Oh, I'm going to continue to plug this because I still really like the website and I need to reach out to them to partner with. It's pissedconsumer.com. And then my last note before I leave to Dan, don't hesitate to record calls. It makes for great content and it compels us to have you on the show because it shows the facts of the situation. Look into just any recording from the App Store or Google Store to put it on your cell phone. And it's very quick to record the call. And it's kind of nice. I've used it in the past to go, dude, I kind of lost my shit on that last call. Let me see if I was in the wrong. And 50% of the time, I'm usually in the wrong, right, Dan?
I can see that, yes. You can go off a little half-cocked.
Well, that's my heritage. Anyways, closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts, I want to go back to the AI thing real quick. AI has a place in our future. Absolutely, it's fun. But what it should not take the place is customer service. If they're using AI to figure out which way to point a certain email because they have a customer service team that specializes, each person specializes in things, got it. That's a perfect use for AI to let you get to the right person. End of the day, AI cannot replace that interaction. You and I recently hit a Hardee's. Shocking that us two fat guys would hit a Hardee's. They had AI taking order. That's fine. But when it comes to dealing with customer service, if you had a bad experience, the final piece needs to be people that you're working with. You want to talk to somebody, a real, not some digital canned responses looking at keyword. No, AI has its place, not to replace dealing with the human when it comes to.
Alrighty. With that said, thank you for your time. We'll see you next Thursday. Let's see if I can get any more filler work for this time.